Afternoon, people. Just back down the combine. I've been at work all day, finished work, just come back down because we've got so much to do. I'm going to try and get this short combine, the short cleaner, all serviced up and ready to go. So there's not much, but there's enough. Obviously it needs greasing and there's a couple of jobs that I want to do, like things that need to check just so, you know, if I'm not here and they need to use it, you know, if I'm at work and they want to get on cutting, they can just drive it out and then it's ready to go. Still, it's like I say, it's quite a lot of, there is quite a lot of stuff to do, but I'll show you. So, basically there's greasers in, you see them holes there, there's greasers in there, you can just see one of them there. So you had to rotate them right into the right place, and they grease the shaft that they spin on. I only tend to do them sort of at the beginning and the end of the season, really, generally, unless you do a lot of work, you do them again. But they're they don't need doing that much, really. It's just a waste of grease. But this fell off last season, and I was at a show, and I just carried on going. I shouldn't have done really, but it's worn a little bit into the machine. In fact, it has bent that tine, so it might be worth changing that tine maybe. So yeah, there's like a clip that holds that in, but I've got to, like where it's bowed it over, I've got to clean that. I've got to clean like the burr off the edge at the back, so I can get there's little clips that hold the bolts in, so I've got to sort that out. Yeah, just putting a fresh knife in. A lot of these are, there is some Alice sections, but there's some Massey sections as well. I think the lens is getting a bit foggy. Yeah, so fresh knife in there, mainly because I thought the ball joint there was loose, but actually all it was this wasn't tight enough. So there shouldn't be any play in there now. They're nice and tight, you see. And so yeah, obviously there's certain greases that I'll obviously grease up while it's sat still, but ones like these like rollers, only the early cleaners have these, and when it's running up, I do them. Also, another thing that I want to check is I modified some of this chain. Is like it's part. I've got to clean that again. It's still dirty for some reason. There you go. Some of these aren't riveted on; they're actually bolted on. There you go. That's better. And just so they're easier to change, you see. Pretty good chain. I reckon that doesn't need adjusting too much. They reckon 1.5 to 2 inch you should be able to pull that up. But I want to check to make sure they're all tight, because 1 or 2 of them did fall. I think one of them did fall off last season, so it might be a case of getting another one to put on there. So see if I can find one somewhere. Put it on the list of things to get. There should be one up north somewhere. And yeah, then oil the chains, see, that's actually that's a bit too tight really, I think, a little bit. See, that's maybe just a little bit loose. Oh look, I know it's right, it is there. I thought that split pin was missing. So it's a case of just going around checking everything. Got to top the gearbox up, we've got a bit of a leak. It does leak out a bit. There is bearings at the top there as well, at the top of the elevator. Quite a tall oil elevator. So basically, that's it. Grease it, check the oils. There is little oil ports on there that you can do as well. As it goes round, you just drop a little bit of oil on there, and it just keeps everything nice, supple and that. But yeah, it's kind of looking like I need to change that tine really. But there you go. It's one of them things that I just got to go through and just do. yeah, I think I might give it a go as it is with that tine. I know it's bent, but I reckon it's a difficult one to know what to do really. It does need changing really, but it's it's one of the ones that's more awkward to get at because of where it is. But we'll have a look anyway. I'll have a look at that in a minute. See what to do, what to decide. I don't even know if I've got any tines to put in it. We'll have a look. See you in a bit. Afternoon. I'm back at the combine today. So a minute ago you was looking at me yesterday. So now it's Tuesday. And because I really got bogged down yesterday, I didn't think there was going to be so much work. But what happened was, I'll show you. I was looking, when I was doing the working day last year, the last job last year, so I did a few acres at a working event, and it spat out a couple of these tine guides. They fell out, so I was replacing them. But as I was turning it round, I noticed that they were a lot more worn than I thought. So what happened was I started changing anything that was beyond what I see. What happens is when you see those white plastic bits, so well they're plastic, they're nylon. The bloke called Ron Knight, he unfortunately he's not with us anymore, but he's a famous combine restorer guy. And he really did have a collection. He knew his stuff, and he made me a load of them, fresh ones, but I just run out of them. So I'll use the last ones on this now. I had a load made, and yeah, that was from my first one, my humpback A. I changed them all, and I had a load left over, and I just put them in whenever I need them. So what I've been doing is with these ones, almost every one I had to take out and turn around, because what happens is when they wear out, the metal of the finger, the fingers only stick out the front. They don't stick out all the way around. They stick out the front so that it grabs it, and then as it goes around the back, the fingers are on an off-center shaft inside, so that they disappear halfway around, so that the straw can flow through, and otherwise the straw would just keep on going round and just get wrapped up. And yeah, like I say, it spat them out, and some of them quite a lot of them were worn too much. I put as many good ones in as I could. I just put as many good ones in as I could, but some of them I had to undo the metal part and turn some of them round just to get fresh. But none of them are scraping metal to metal now. And so you see the metal covers, and there's one on the inside as well. So there's two metal things that hold the nylon guides. I changed one finger as well. See the metal finger. I changed one of them because one of them was bent. Those metal clips, the holders, they wear thin as well, and so I had to change quite a few of them. But this one here, so there has been a repair done on this beater at some point. I did make an attempt at changing it one day, but I decided just to leave it for the time being. But I think what had happened was one of these tines had broken at some point, and it punched a hole through. So they just put a repair plate over the top of it, and that's what that is. But you see that little brass ring? I'll show you what that is. That's one of these. That is what's called a rivet nut, and that's what I use for these now. So I've used a 6. It's metric. So if I go whole hog and it's gone in the wrong one. There's this little gut. If I ever go whole hog and refrain like the whole lot, rather than using those like little clips that they have on them, if I was refurbishing the whole thing, now I'd just use these. I know it's not original, but you know, it's the proper job, you know. So what happens? You screw. In fact, what you do is you open that up like that, so it goes right on. And, oh, please don't fall everywhere. And you screw that on there,
and you drill a hole that's just the right size, and then you crimp it on. And then when you've crimped it in, that is a captive nut basically. You can see there's little serrated edges on it, and it crimps it in place, and you can screw a nut in there, and yeah, so it holds it all in place. See, you can see the top one. That's an original clip, that is. But they're not very good, really. I mean, I'm using them now because obviously I've got limited time. But if I was going to go all out and refurbish the whole lot of them, then I would put rivet nuts in them all, you know. Timing. I'm going to do timing on this. So I put, like I say, put new knife in it. Runs nice and smooth, but it's just slightly out of sync because I had to put a new ball. This isn't the ball that the ball socket that come with this one. And this here, you undo these nuts either end here, and you twist that, and it feeds it in and out, so it makes it shorter or longer. Yeah, and then I just got to grease it. Got to grease the nipples. I'll put a bit of grease on the chains as well. I'll put oil on the chains, but I'll put a bit of grease on them because it lasts longer. And yeah, and there's a few other bits and pieces that I've got to check that I showed you yesterday. But yeah, we're getting there anyway. So hopefully by the end of the day, this one will be ready to go in the field. Ready to just, you know, no messing about, just get in there and get going. And then we got to go play about with that one. My mate who owns the shed here that I share the Model C with, anyway, I share it with him, but I'm going to buy my share out. I'm going to buy his half of that combine so that it will be all mine. And then he's got a Squareback A, which is basically the same as the one behind me, but they're just a later version with the vari-speed drum and just updated, slightly better layout, but basically the same combine. You know, it's this pretty much the same output. You know, there ain't much different. It's got a 10-foot header, it's got a square back on it, it's got a slightly bigger engine as well, but it's the same combine. It's a Model A gleaner, and he's bringing that back tomorrow. So hopefully, do a little. Hopefully if everything works out, then I'll come down and I'll show you this new one that's come in. So like I say, we got, and then my Humpback A is coming down on Saturday morning. So we got this one, we got the C, we got the Humpback, my Humpback A, the one that I bought years ago that I've had a long time now, longer than all of these put together. And then we got a Squareback A, so that's 4 gleaners here. And then hopefully there's a chap called Neil who's bringing another one, which is actually basically a cross between this one behind me and my Humpback A. So it's a Humpback, but it's got the tool elevator like this one, which my Humpback doesn't have. And it was actually sold roughly at the same time as the C. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, so it's actually basically almost exactly the same. The same combine as this, but with a Humpback, because it was before the Super Series came out with the vari-speed drum. See, this is, I'll show you. Probably you might have seen it before, but this is all just one mechanism. Everything drives through one to another. So the drum there drives through to the other side. There's a chain that drives that. There's a chain that drives the header. But the Super Series, which were the A's, they had this. So this is a C, and the C didn't have a fixed drum in this country. In America, the early C did. The early C was the same as what I just showed you on that one. But this is what they became, and this here is actually it's a separate drive line. It's separate, so there's two drive lines from here, one here and one here. So that belt drives everything apart from the drum and the beater. So this belt here is the vary belt that drives this chain that drives the drum. Well, on this it drives this auger as well, but the Model A's in this country didn't have this auger, and this beater here, and that other belt I showed you on that pulley drives everything else, including the header. Whereas on that Model A the Model A and the American Model C, it was just one after another. It just followed through one after another. There was no distinction. There was no separate drive line. Sure you understand what I'm saying? I'll catch up with you in a little while because I've got a lot of work to do and I'm absolutely shattered really. And but yeah, have a nice day and I'll see you later. Bye. So I've just done this. This is my steering box. I just basically, that's 27, well, I don't think it's 27 mil, whatever the metric, the imperial equivalent is, but that's your top-up bung. And what you do, you take that out, and when it flows out, you know it's right, and there wasn't nothing coming out. So I put a bit in there, and I popped this little bung off, because what you do is pour a bit of gear oil in there, and it falls down onto this top bearing. There's a top bearing in there, and there's another bearing which holds the steering wheel drives like a screw at the bottom here. It's like a worm gear. It wriggles through like that, and then you've got a rack which goes up and down, which drives the steering. Proper simple stuff. But I just thought before harvest now, I'd just check it to make sure the oil is level. It takes, I think it takes 140, but I've got EP 140 extreme pressure, so I've got, I think it's 85 140, but it's the one up from extreme pressure, so it's even better. Quite expensive, but need it for these, you know, you need to top them up every year really. Just check them. There's a few bits and pieces that need it. It'd be ideal to pour on the chains, to be honest, but it's so expensive. You're better off just putting grease on them. Anyway, yeah, so that's sorted. Another job done. Just got to do it up. Put the bung back in. Good. So see you in a bit. Next job is just in the knife sweep. So that's just slightly further over one way. So that's exactly the further sweep that way. So that's as far as those knives go that way. And that one will reach the middle of that one. Just about dead center on this one. So what I want to do is just bring it back a tiny bit, just so the sweep is right in timing, because it reaches just a tiny bit further that way than it does that way. And I want the timing just right in the middle, so it has a clean sweep on each one. Chop, 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 right through. It just helps cut better. Makes decent chop, you know, makes the job easier. If it's smooth right through, you know, it'd probably be alright as it is, but I just want to get it right. There you go. I've done it. Basically all of it's done now. So we've done some work to the sea, whatever my mate did. I just got to do is put another tine there, because one had broken, and there's another one on the next row somewhere there, look, just up there. So there's one broken somewhere. Let's see there. Oh, that one there, yeah. So change them, have a tidy up, and then I'm off. It's been a heavy night again, but you know, I just had to push on with it. You know, I'd only be sat at home anyway. But there you go. All basically ready to go now. This one all oiled up, all greased, checked. I can't think of anything else. There is one more thing I wanted to do to it, and that was put that lens in in one of the gauges up there, but I shan't be doing that tonight. That'll have to wait. I'm just going to carry on doing these 2 little jobs now, and then that's it. I'm out of here. Right. Yeah, shattered. I might even call it a day now, to be honest. You know, just gotta get out of here. So the pump's back on. Nice tight belt. Got to put some, I think, a rubber in there to stop that, like a little bit like you know, like a door seal or something in there to stop that rubbing. Because obviously this didn't have this. We've added that to give it strength. Basically to stop it twisting when we do the unloading auger. Just gives it a little bit more brutality. It's got a fresh hose on there. Yeah, we just got to plug everything in. So yeah. Yeah, basically all coming together. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm just gonna put them together. I'm tired now, you know. I was gonna have a bit of a tidy up, but I just had to do it, you know. Tomorrow, gotta call it a day. Yeah, very, very worn out. But like I say, hopefully all that's got left on that combine is those 2 tines and a little lens in one of the gauges, and then that's it for this time. And then obviously it's just it'll be the morning services. So realistically, if you want to keep a combine like this running, like, well, any combine running properly and have it so that it doesn't damage, don't get worn out, you've got to spend a good bit of time, a few hours in the morning to go through checking everything, checking the levels, you know, different things, cleaning the radiator out and stuff like that. I mean, some people don't necessarily do it, but in the end they pay for it. You know, it's only a matter of time. But anyway, I'll catch up with you again at some point. You know, it'll be some point in the week. I'll be working most nights now doing this to get these ready. Although fortunately we got a bit of rain come through, so it's, you know, we don't really quite know when it's going to come bright again. So, but basically it's got to get it ready for when it is bright, and then we can jump on them and get them going. I think this one's ready, so this will be the first out in the field if it does dry out. That one will be ready as well. There's still a few bits to do to that, obviously. But my other Model A will be here on Saturday. So yeah, right, I'll catch up with you maybe tomorrow. Bye.